What's up, VIPs? Derek here. I'm back with another video, and it's no secret that I like Apple products. I mean, I have an iPhone, I have an Apple Watch, I have an iMac, I have an iPad. We use an Apple TV. I like Apple products. No secret, none at all. But the question a lot of people ask me is, well, now that I'm visually impaired, do I need to pay the Apple tax? Their question is, do I have to get Apple products? Do I have to use a Mac and an iPhone and everything else? Like, is that what's going to help me the most? Is that the only thing I can use? Can I, all those kinds of questions. And I just wanted to address that for a second today, because so often in the visually impaired community, the blind community, Apple gets talked about a lot because I think, to its credit, it really had the best accessibility first. I personally still think it has the best accessibility, but that's maybe a debate people can get into. So, but I think it had it first for sure, or at least the best at first. And so naturally, a lot of people, when the 3GS came out umpteen years ago, it had voiceover built in. And people just went nuts who were visually impaired because it was like, oh my gosh, I can use this phone. It's a touchscreen. I can use it. I know I was one of those people. I was just so excited. I had a 3GS, and I mean, it was huge. It changed the landscape of how we did things. And now we're at a place where I don't have, I have some blind specific things, but I'm using Apple products. So I think that's why so much Apple gets pushed in the visually impaired world. But when people ask me, especially if they've just recently lost their sight, well, do I have to give up my Android phone or my Android tablet, or do I have to get an Apple TV, or do I have to get a Mac instead of a PC, or things like that? People often ask that because they're like, well, I see you using it. Does that mean, or you've recommended it, does that mean I have to get it? Here, let me give you the simple answer to the question, do you have to get an Apple product after losing your sight? Or that question, do I have to pay the Apple tax, as we call it, because everything's more expensive? The simple answer is yes. No, I'm just kidding. No, of course not. Of course you don't have to. There are tons of great and accessible things out there now. Android has come so far in their accessibility options. Amazon is really coming aboard with things. They have a new tablet that has built-in things and built-in screen readers that are fantastic. Even things like cable companies like Comcast, their box or set-top box or X1, whatever it is, their screen has a screen reader. I have a small little, Vizio TV that has a screen reader built in. There are so many great products for technology out there that have accessibility features built in. So, do you have to get Apple products? Of course not, and definitely not. You do not have to pay all that extra money for Apple products. No way. But let me just go ahead and say why I get Apple products. Okay, this is a personal IMO, in my opinion, kind of thing. All the rest of this video is just, why I do this. Number one, I like the ecosystem of Apple. And what I mean by that is my phone, my Mac, my iPad, everything connects. It's all there. My music, my photos, everything, it all just connects. My watch, everything is built in together. And that's what I like and appreciate. That's what keeps me from going to an Android phone, probably because, one, I think the accessibility features are better on the iPhone, but I think that's what keeps me, for the most part, going to an Android phone, is because I'm like, well, everything works together. Why would I want to switch it all up? Or that's what keeps me from getting a different kind of tablet or something like that. It all works together, so I just use that. Number two, I think the accessibility features, for me, IMO, for me, are the best. They work the best for me. I understand them the most. Now, that's probably because I've been using Apple products since I was, very early on in sight loss. I've been using them as long as they've been accessible. So I'm probably used to it by now. I mean, that's a fair argument. Some people will say, well, you'll get used to Android after a while. And you're probably right. I probably would. But I'm so stuck in my ways. I'm trapped in the ecosystem of Apple. I can't get out now. It's like, oh, this is too hard. Forget it. I'll just keep my iPhone. I did switch to an Android phone a few years ago, and it was just not great. It was, to be honest, it was like, it just really wasn't. And that's not any knock on Android. Android's a great platform. Like the Android phones, the hardware themselves, that Google Pixel, it looks fantastic. It's so much. It's better, honestly, in many ways than the iPhone, hardware-wise especially. But the seamless use of the accessibility on the iPhone and iPad and iMac and such, I don't know, just works better for me. And finally, I I want it usable out of the box. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to do a lot of work at it. And so for me, that's what I'm paying when I get that Apple tax. You know, that, and Apple tax is not a real thing. If you're thinking like, oh, Apple taxes their things more. No, what it means is things are a little more expensive from Apple, and so they call it the Apple tax. Quotation marks in the air. Yeah, we pay a little more for those things. We're getting, my wife's old computer is getting ready to just go, you know, up to heaven, and so we're going to have to get a new one. We're probably going to buy maybe a, I don't know, a MacBook Air or something. Not to anything crazy, she isn't anything nuts, but to troubleshoot it, I'm the one who knows the most about computers, which I know very little, but I know the most out of my family, so we're probably going to get an Apple computer so that I can troubleshoot it a little bit. So we're paying a little more for that. So in the end, you have to make up your mind. I've rambled a lot today, but at the end of the day, it's you have to make up your mind what's going to work for you the best. Do you have the money to drop on an Apple product or not? If you don't worry. You buy the thing that works the best for you. Buy an Android phone. Buy an Android tablet. Buy a Fire Stick, an Amazon tablet. You know, there's just so many great things out there now that Apple products, while I still think they're the best for accessibility, they just don't, they aren't the only game in town anymore. Maybe 5 years ago, 7 years ago, they were the only game in town for, you know, a viable option, but now they're just not. And probably in 5 more years, there probably won't even be a debate on whether Apple's better anymore because it'll just be how it works with their system. So, at the end of the day, if you've just recently lost your sight and you're worried about paying the Apple tax, don't worry. You get whatever works for you and use it to its fullest. Maybe that means you don't get an Apple Watch and you just get a talking watch because you don't need all those bells and whistles. Maybe that means you have your Android phone and just turn on TalkBack and make it work. Maybe you get an Amazon tablet that's, you know, $125 or whatever, then an iPad that's over $400. Maybe you have a PC and you use Narrator and Magnifier and don't drop thousands of dollars on a Mac computer. Whatever it means for you, that's what you should do. The ultimate part of this video is telling you that no, you don't have to buy Apple products. You can do whatever works the best for you. And I think that goes with anything in life, not just technology. So hopefully this video made sense and I haven't rambled on too much. So that being said, I want to hear from you guys. What products do you use? We don't have to get in a big debate in the comments, but what products are you using? Are you iPhone, iPad, Apple products all the way? Are you Android, Amazon, Fire Stick? Are you a blend of the two? Or you have something, you know, totally different that you use? I want to hear about it, and I know others would as well, so let me know in the comments below. And if you liked this video, if you found it helpful, make sure to show your support by giving it a big thumbs up, sharing it out with somebody that you know, and hitting that subscribe button and turning on notifications so you don't miss another single video. Thank you so much for watching wherever you are, and until next time, remember, sight loss isn't the end, it's just the beginning. My name's Derek Daniel from LifeAfterSightLoss.com, and I'll see you in the next one.